Hello, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Back of the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Walker. My pleasure as always. Thank you very much for joining us. If the sentiment fits you due to the weekend that we're in, he has risen. Hey, this was the weekend of the Rock the Parkway Half Marathon, big race for us. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But I want to start kind of where we left off last week. And I hope you will forgive me if I get a wee bit emotional. I'm going to endeavor not to. I'm sure if you listen, when you listen to the last episode, and yeah, it was delayed coming out. If you didn't see, producer Katie came down with pneumonia, so we don't want to mess around with that. Yes, I give her crap about it, but we really don't want to mess around with illness like that. So I did that last episode, and before anyone even heard it. Okay, that episode was recorded last weekend on Saturday, for a Monday release. The day after it was supposed to be released on Tuesday, early April, whatever date that was, we crossed the goal for the fundraising. The charity bib requirement has been met. It's done. And I mean, honestly, and again, this was without my pleading from the last episode. This was without my, emotional outburst, if you even want to call it that. We can call it whatever you want. I'm game. Even without all that, my friends and my family and the people who listen to this podcast, who I know it sounds hokey and cliche, and I don't care. Like anyone listening to this show, like I consider you a friend. You are part of my running family. You're part of this running journey that we're all on. And so, I'm not even trying to differentiate between, my friends and family and then the listeners. No, I think we're all in this together. But with everyone's help, friends, family, listeners, and everyone in between, we were able to meet the charity requirement to secure my bib to the Boston Marathon. And I can't thank you enough. The weight that was lifted off of my shoulders is just amazing. It's a huge relief. And I was telling people this over the weekend. It's like now that is done, and now that I'm no longer staring this gargantuan task of raising these funds, now that that's not in front of me, holy crap, there's a full marathon. And as I sit here and record right now, it's in like 8.5 days. Yikes. So I went from one panic attack and one freak out to another, going from raising the funds to secure the charity bib now to running the Boston Marathon. So that's a different beast entirely. But to all of you, if you were able to donate, or even if you weren't, even if you just sent the well wishes into the universe, even if you're in the position of, man, I would help if I could, but times are tight, things are tough, I can't donate. But if your heart was there, man, I don't care. Thank you all so much. I would repay you all if I could, if I knew how. As it is, I'm going to give you my complete and utter thanks. And if anyone finds themselves in the same position, you can bet your booty that I will help. I will donate, and I will do what I can, if I see you out there chasing your dreams. And I will do my best to cover Boston for the podcast as best as I can. I will inundate the Facebook and Instagram accounts for Back of the Pack podcast with pictures, maybe some videos, maybe even going live. I'm going to do what I can so that you guys can kind of get a piece of the experience that I get to go through, that I am fortunate enough and privileged enough to go through. I will do everything I can to bring you the best coverage that I can for this complete rank amateur non-journalist that I am. So, all right. So that's going to be that. That's coming up. That is now my next big thing. So I will run the Boston Athletic Association 5K on Saturday the 15th. I figure if I'm going to be in Boston and if they're offering another race, and I'll have a little time to rest and recover, might as well. I'm only doing this once. I am only doing this thing one time. I will never be fast enough to qualify for Boston, and I will never, ever try a charity bib again. I will never ask you to do what you guys have done for me this time around. So I know that this is my one and done on the Boston Marathon. And so I want to make the best of it. So I will be up there for the 5K on Saturday the 15th. And then the race is on Monday, the 17th. Now, if you guys go out there, you can search. There is an app for the Boston Marathon. And it's not just called, hey, Boston Marathon. It's the BAA Racing app. That is their official app. And of course, it's got the Boston Marathon and John Hancock logos on the front. of the app. But if you want to download that particular app, you can track runners if you so desired. Now, I would suggest that you go track Eliud Kipchoge and see how the GOAT is doing while he's out there, because I'm sure he's going to completely dominate. If you feel like tracking your third favorite running podcast host, that would be me, here is the bib number that you can track. My bib number for the Boston Marathon is 24593. 24593 with a potential or estimated starting time of 11:15 a.m. Eastern time. So that's going to be 10:15 here in the Midwest. That is when I will kick off. That's when I'm going to go. If you download that app and put in my bib number, you can track. You can kind of see where I'm at. It's a neat little app that they've got going on there, and you can just kind of follow along, follow the journey as I, go from point to point. Boston's a point-to-point race from Hopkinton down to where the Boston Commons really is where it goes, and everywhere in between. So you're more than welcome to do that. And anytime you check the app and see where I'm at, feel free to put something on Facebook or just send something out into the universe. Wish me the best of luck, and that I can make it through this crazy marathon with 55,000 of my closest running friends. Oh goodness, that's going to be a lot of people. That is going to be big. So, and then another big shout out again in my gratitude fest, the actual Boston Athletic Association charity, who I raised the money for. They selected me. They liked my story. They believed in me that I could raise these funds, and so they just this week, I finally got my box of swag from them, and they clearly spared no expense. They're officially partnered with Adidas, who is the official brand of the Boston Marathon. So I am sure they were gifted this stuff from Adidas to give to their runners who raised all these funds. But man, I really made out like a champ on this stuff. So I've got tons of Boston stuff to be wearing around. That's going to be great. And of course, I'm going to be rocking my Back of the Pack podcast stuff anywhere that I can. And we're going to make an experience of it. So, all right, I'm going to get off the Boston Marathon for now. This will certainly not be the last time we talk about it. I will bring you all the coverage that I can. And again, I want to thank you all so very, very, very much. This weekend was the Rock the Parkway Half Marathon here in Kansas City, Missouri. Most of us were there, I swear, on Facebook. That's all I see right now is people posting their pictures from Rock the Parkway. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm glad it appears that everyone had a great race, man. We had a great day for it. This was probably my favorite Rock the Parkway. So Rock the Parkway 2023, mark it down as Kyle's favorite, and for quite a few different reasons. The first reason was this was the first year where the Back of the Pack podcast had a booth at the expo. Okay, race director William for the KC Hustle Run was there with me. We were at the table, meeting people, talking to people, telling people about our race in September, telling people about the podcast, having some laughs, just doing what we do, doing what you do at an expo. I'll be honest, we were going to try and do some recordings from the expo and kind of put them on this episode and bring it to you. One of the other vendors had their little karaoke machine, their little portable speaker. They were jamming out. They were playing the tunes. So anytime I tried to record, all I was really hearing was the background music as opposed to my voice. I didn't think you guys would really want to listen to all that. So it didn't sound great. And again, I'm not mad at that booth at all. I mean, I'm glad there was some music. We needed it at times where it got a little slow in there, but I couldn't really bring you anything from the expo. But race director William and I had a great time at the expo, great time meeting people. If we met you at the Rock the Parkway Expo and you're listening now, A, you're awesome. B, thank you. And C, I hope you enjoy the show and that you will tell your friends about it. And huge shout out to Ambassador Amy, because we had people stop by and say, yeah, Amy told me about this podcast. Yeah, she did, because that's what she do. Word of mouth, my friends. I'm telling you, you like this show and you want this to get bigger and better. Word of mouth. Tell all your friends about it. Tell all your running buddies about it. And this thing just gets bigger and bigger. And it is all kudos today to Ambassador Amy for getting the word out. That's awesome sauce right there. So we had a great time at the expo in Overland Park at the DoubleTree. It was really kind of funny because whenever people asked us where the KC Hustle Run was in September, we're like, oh, it's behind us, because that is backed right next to Corporate Woods, and that is where the race is going to be. So don't forget that on Sunday, September 17th, 2023, the Casey Hustle Run, 5K and 10K. Make sure you go out and get signed up. Yes, we're the second race in the Heartland 30K series. So if you want to do 3 10Ks, 3 Sundays in a row, starting with the Plaza 10K, the Casey Hustle Run 10K, and then TBD 10K, make sure you get signed up for the Heartland 30K series. I did it for the first time last year. It was super fun. Nice sweater at the end that we got. You get all the medals, and then you get an additional medal for this series. We all like medals. So make sure you sign up for that. And again, we got to show off what our medal is going to look like for our race. And trust me, if you are a big medal fan like I am, you don't want to miss this race. Our medal, designed by producer Katie, is freaking awesome, right? It is kind of all-encompassing. Encompasses the podcast, the Casey Hustle Club, the Casey Hustle Run. It's really cool. And don't forget, because I haven't hit this enough, although it's coming up soon, this race benefits St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That is huge. Huge that they are working with us. Huge that we can help them out and give them the donation after the race. So remember, your registration dollar is going to a very good place. And I'll put it out there. If you or a friend have a business and you are looking for sponsorship opportunities, we are definitely looking for sponsors for this race. You can come on the podcast. We can talk about your business. We can talk about what you do, a side hustle, if that's what you've got going on. But we have sponsorship opportunities that you can find on CaseyHustleRun.com. And if you or someone you know has a business, you're trying to get exposure, you're trying to get out there in the world, you want people to hear about you, want people to see you, this is a great way to do it. And we are absolutely looking for sponsors right now for the race, benefiting St. Jude's. I know it feels like all I do is ask you guys for money, but this is different. This is different. This is not for Kyle. This is for St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which makes it infinitely better. Infinitely better. So Rock the Parkway, the race itself, like I said, this is probably the best one ever. And here's why. A, we lucked out so hard on the weather. The weather was amazing. What a beautiful early spring day in the Midwest, in the Kansas City area. We started in the upper 40s, no wind. It was a little chilly at the start. You know, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. But as soon as that sun came up, oh, it was glorious. The wind was light. We couldn't have asked for a better morning to run that race. And that is for serious right there. So next off, we know this course. We've done this course. Nothing's changed about this course. I think there was a 1 block change where I think around mile 5, instead of doing the little U-turn, you did kind of a right turn. And instead of taking the little U-turn street, you took a street and went straight up to the right. And then you took a right on that street. And then you were back down to where we always are. So whatever the reason was for that 1 block change, it affected nothing. So the course was exactly what we thought it was going to be. So again, great weather, consistent course. And the course, hey, course monitors, all the course monitors out there. And I know several people who are course monitors. You guys are all stars. You know that, right? Like, thank all the course monitors. Thank the police officers. They keep us safe. And especially on that course, the Ward Parkway on a Saturday morning, that street is humming. There is activity, and they are keeping all these drivers at bay so that we crazy runners can go traipsing up and down Ward Parkway. So, hey, all you course monitors, and then not that the police officers are listening, but if one happened to be, thank you so much. You guys really do a great job making us feel safe, because I know there's some ticked off drivers out there. People who didn't see that the signs were up for a month saying that that was a race route and the day that it was going to be closed off, and then are suddenly miffed that they can't get through. Sorry, Charlie. That's how it works. So big thanks to all of them. So we had great weather. We had a consistent course. We had a safe course, and that's a big deal. Aid stations were all stocked. They were good to go. Love it. Thank you all the volunteers at the aid stations. And look, I've seen it online. I know there was a big call for volunteers this year. Like, some people fell through. Volunteers were needed. Volunteers showed up. So good job. You know, next we finished the race. Great medal, as always. A great finish line festival, as always. They have chocolate milk. That makes me personally happy. If you haven't had ice cold chocolate milk after a race, you're kind of missing some of the best in life. Gonna be real honest there. You've got to try it. It's wonderful. Just kind of gives you that little jolt of sugar that you need, just a little sweet in your mouth. And milk is good for you after a race, help your body repair everything that you just tore down over 13.1 miles. And then lastly, for me, it was not a PR. It was the fastest Rock the Parkway I've ever done. So it was a course PR, and then it was my third fastest half marathon ever. I missed a PR by, let me do the math, carry the whatever, 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So I missed a PR by 3 minutes and 12 seconds. However, if I look back at last year, I improved over last year by, carry the, by 18 minutes and 14 seconds. Woo! That's the kind of improvement you like to see. I don't think I'm going to knock off another 18 minutes next year. But what was funny was at the expo, I just kept telling people, oh, yeah, no, I just, it's survive in advance. I just got to make it through Rock the Parkway. Got to make it through healthy. I'm going to take it easy. Boston is the goal. Not going to do anything crazy at Rock the Parkway. And then I go and run my third fastest half marathon ever. So clearly, I don't listen to myself. I don't know why you guys would listen to me at all. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I clearly make no sense. My goal today, was to slow my pace and be consistent. I wanted to be consistent across my 13 miles. I wanted, whatever my pace was going to be, I wanted to be very similar after each mile. I didn't want to see big fluctuations. That was my goal. After the race, I pull up my Strava. Yes, you can find me on Strava under Kyle Walker. I pull up my Strava and I look at my splits. I swear I looked like a drunk toddler running around Disney World. You can see where he saw Mickey Mouse and went running away from his parents. And then you saw where he fell asleep in his crib or in his stroller. My splits were everywhere. I had fast miles. I had slow miles. I had miles. I don't know how I pulled that time. I had miles where I'm surprised they didn't sweep me off the course. I was all over the place. So much for my consistent run today. Yeah, I overran, ran too fast, and was not at all consistent. Didn't slow down like I wanted to, and still pulled a decent time. So I don't know. Go team. I don't make any sense. Just do as I say. Don't do as I do. That's how this podcast has always worked, right? We know that. We have that agreement. So it was a good one. I've seen all over social media a lot of PRs happen today. So if you were a runner at Rock the Parkway and you got a personal record today, man, great job. Good job out of you. It was a perfect day for it. So I'm glad that you were able to do that. I'm actually secretly glad that I did not, because if I had PR'd today, I'd be even angrier at myself for not doing what I originally wanted to do for today. Of course, then I would have gotten it over real quick and been like, "Ooh, I PR'd." I'm ridiculous. So anyway, next weekend, I know that the whiskey run is here in town. That's the big 5K next weekend. That's where a lot of our running buddies are going to be at. Of course, I won't be there because I'll be running the Boston Athletic Association 5K. Yes, and I know that was a long there as my brain totally melted out of my nose. I'll be running the 5K in Boston next Saturday. You guys will be here doing the whiskey run. Hopefully, y'all get to have some good whiskey after that run. I personally, I have not had an adult beverage in several weeks now. I'm going to say 3 weeks. So by the time we get to the marathon, it'll be a month. I try and cut out liquor as I train for big races. Now, in 2021, for the last full marathon that I ran, that is in the city so nice they named it twice, that I'm not allowed to mention, but it's on the East Coast. The Knicks play there, as do the Jets, Giants, and Yankees, Mets. Wherever that is, wherever that may be, even though I can't say its name. The last time I went there, I did not do so well on the no drinking beforehand. I didn't do well at the no drinking while I was even on that trip before the race. So I'm trying this year to be really good. It's been a lot more water, a lot more protein shakes, no alcohol, and no soda. That has been a lot easier anymore. I'm not the biggest soda drinker walking the face of the planet. Certainly used to be. You give me a minute, I might could again. But at the moment, no. So cutting out the alcohol, trying to be good. When I get to Boston, definitely want to cut out the alcohol there. I'm not going to have any before the race. Here's my big problem. And we're all adults here, so let's not pretend this isn't a thing. I leave the morning after the race, meaning if I want to enjoy a Boston beer, Sam Adams, probably, I would like to see if they've got something else. I'm going to have to do it after the race. I'm going to have to suck it up after the marathon, venture out of my hotel, and go find a beer. And that's not going to be easy. That is not going to be easy at all. Because after the race in 2021, and the city's so nice they named it twice, I couldn't leave my hotel room. I took a shower, I laid down on the bed, and I did not move from that bed until the next day. So I'm kind of expecting that again, which means I will go even longer without drinking. Hooray. But, hey, maybe we can all find a time to go grab a drink once I get back from Boston. How's that sound? So that's it for Rock the Parkway. So we had the expo, we had the race, all great. Boston right around the corner. If you're listening to this show, so we asked some people at the expo, what could we cover? What could I cover for the podcast that you would want to hear about in Boston? So some people have mentioned food. Some people want to know about the crazy outfits that people come up with. Some people want to know what kind of commemoration they're going to do for the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing. And so if there's something that you would like to know about or something you would like covered by the podcast, I would love to do it. It makes my life easier if I know what people actually want to hear about rather than me just guessing. So please send a message to the show over Instagram or Facebook or reach out to me personally, whatever you want to do. Let me know what you'd like to see or hear about. I am more than happy to do that. I'm going to try and do everything I can to maybe talk to some people at their expo up in Boston, maybe do some expo interviews. I'm going to take my phone with me, of course, during the race. I would like to maybe find some recordings. In one of the universities up there, they have the Scream Tunnel, where I guess it's under a bridge. It's not like a subway tunnel or anything. It's just under a bridge. But all the college students, because it's on a college campus, they line up under this thing to try and make the most noise. And so I'm going to try and record as I go through the Scream Tunnel. That could be kind of fun. And then I will try and record as I go down the finishing chute. And look, I'm fully aware it may not be impressive. There may not be a whole lot of people still there because I am, after all, a back of the pack runner on a charity bib. So it's not like I hit some crazy qualifying time to get there. Am I going to be the last finisher? Hell no. No, I am not. I will finish. You can take that to the bank. But, I don't know what the finish line area is going to look like when I get there. But I am still going to try and record it as I huff and puff on the way down the finishing chute, just so you can see what it looks like to finish Boston. It's kind of the best I can do. And then there will be all the obligatory selfies with the medal. And then I'm going to go back to my hotel room and die. So that's my plan. That's my plan for Boston. We don't really have a big message today. Yeah, we did Rock the Parkway. We've got Boston coming up. Two things that got my attention at Rock the Parkway, and I know this isn't new. We've talked about this before, maybe once or twice. And I'm just throwing it out there because as someone told me, I try not to take offense. I don't think I took offense. They said that this podcast is a great podcast for new runners, that we cover very new runner type information, things that everyone should know. Okay, I get that. Yeah, we do. We try and cover all of it. And so that's great. So if you have not heard this, if you're new to the podcast and you're new to running, let me tell you something that will drive other runners insane. And there was a lot of it today. Maybe I just was in the right group of people to mildly drive me insane. If you are running, if you are a run, walk person like me, if you run past someone, do not immediately get back in front of them and stop. Please don't take it down to a walk the moment you pass someone and then get back in front of them. Look, after about mile 4, probably mile 3, but we'll say mile 4, there is enough separation within a race, even a big race like Rock the Parkway. You do not have to keep moving to the right. Okay, you can, if you just hold your line, people can adjust accordingly. They can pass you on the right, they can pass you on the left, they can gauge your speed. If you hold your line, no one's going to be bothered. But if you are constantly moving ahead, darting in front of someone, and then going back to your walk, you're going to drive them insane. And if it sounds like I'm a little insane, because it happened a lot today, and I just was trying not to lose my cool. I'm actually very nice, but that really annoys me. And I know I've talked about it before. I think that's probably my biggest running pet peeve. And what also got me about this, and these kind of go hand in hand, Apparently, the Jeff Galloway run walk method is alive and well in the half marathon world, because there were probably 5 people around me, all with watches constantly beep, 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 and then they'd run. Beep, 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 and then they'd walk. Beep, 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 and then they'd run. Beep, 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 and then they'd walk. Okay, I get it. People have had success with that program, and I'm sure it's great. I've never looked into it. I've never officially tried to figure out when I should walk. I walk when my lungs tell me to, and then I run when they say it's okay. I've never worked out the timing aspect of it. But again, if you're doing the Galloway method, if you know that you are very shortly going to be coming to a walk, don't get in front of someone. Look, if someone runs up behind you and they're directly behind you and it's your time to stop, fine. I mean, I get it. That's going to happen. But don't move in front of someone just to stop. That is just a surefire way to drive us all crazy. So anyway, trust me, I am not a perfect runner. I make mistakes. I am sure I have pissed people off on that course before, on every course before. I'm 100% sure it's happened, but I do try and be aware of it. I do know at times when I have screwed up, and I will actively try and get out of someone's way if I know that I just got in it. Like, oh, I just got in their way. Allow me to move. You don't need to move around me. Allow me to get the hell out of your way. Just have a little awareness and a little compassion for your fellow runner. That's all I'm saying. We're all going to screw up and we're all going to make mistakes and we're all going to do something that pisses someone off. I do remember running. It was a half marathon. I want to say it was the Kansas half down in Lawrence years and years ago. And I'm running along, chugging. There was this lady. She was kind of up in front of me on my left. Okay, so like, let's say my 11 o'clock. And I'm trucking along. She's just going a half step slower than me. So I know I'm going to pass her and I'm on the right side. Hey, she's holding her line. No big deal. She apparently was having, let's just say phlegm issues. So she turns her head to the right just to hawk a big old loogie. And I am right there. And she nails me with it. Got me right on the leg with this big old loogie. She screwed up. She knew it. And she was mortified by it. And I mean, I wasn't even mad in the moment. I laughed my ass off when that happened because the look on her face was priceless. But I'm saying we all screw up. It's not intentional. And so we got to show grace to our fellow runner. And, we are one big running community, but the craziest stuff can happen out there on that course. So just do your best to limit the crazy and, just stay in your line. Be aware of where everyone's at, look out for your fellow runner and just, try and follow the running etiquette as best you can. And then make sure maybe you look twice before you hawk a big loogie. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, easy. I haven't thought about that story in so long. That was hilarious. And again, couldn't even be mad at her. She was more mad at herself than I ever could have been at her. Oh, that was funny. Good Lord. So anyway, all right. You know what? This is probably going to be a short episode, but I think you guys are probably doing these episodes binging back to back. So you've listened to last week's Boston preview. You've got this week at Rock the Parkway. Next week, we're going to actually have an interview with the folks from St. Jude's. So we're going to have 2 people on from St. Jude's Children's Hospital. They are going to come and talk to us next week. So that's what's going to happen while I'm in Boston, trying to get everything done and together. And then, of course, we'll have all the stuff from Boston, day of the marathon, which is Monday, the 17th. And again, you can get that BAA racing app. I gave you the bib number earlier in the show, and we'll put it out on social media. If you want to follow me, great. And I really do hope that you guys will blow up the page on Monday, the 17th with, you way to go Kyle, hooray Boston, running's awesome. This is my favoriteest podcast ever. Whatever you want to put on there. I would love to finish the race, take my shower, sit down to finally look at my phone and just see that we really blew the page up and kind of in honor of the day, in honor of Boston Day. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of the Back of the Pack. Again, happy Easter. If that is your thing, happy Easter to you. Passover, I think we just got past. Whatever your situation is, I hope it's a good one. I hope it was well for you. We'll be in Boston here shortly, and then we'll get back. And trust me, the schedule doesn't change when we get back. It's still going to be crazy, as my dumb self will be trying a half marathon 5 days after Boston. So the next one here in town, we're going to be at the Olathe Land of Oz half marathon. completing the Heartland 39.3 series. And then we've got Top City coming up in Topeka, and just all sorts of fun and frivolity awaits us even upon our return from Boston. So, hey, blow up our social media. Tell your friends about this show. If you like this show, tell your friends about it. Tell your running buddies. Share it on social media. Please, that's the only way we grow, word of mouth. And some people are doing an awesome job of it, and I thank you all so very much. Ambassador Amy freaking rocks. So that's going to do it. I am your host, Kyle Walker. My pleasure, as always. This show is brought to you by OKKC Sports. It is produced by the sickly Katie O'Neill, who I think is on the mend, thankfully. And so we'll be back with the next episode. Everyone have a great week of training. Congrats on your Rock the Parkway. You guys did great, and we will see you next week.